Beloved. Richter, get in here, dog. Appreciate you, big dog. Man, hope we were cruising today, guys. Happy Wednesday. Your boy's here. I'm here only 9 minutes into the starting soon. Let's fucking go. I hope this finds you well. Yeah, dude. I'm still alive. Still out here doing it. The haters will say it's fake. It ain't. Let's crank this off double live, huh? Okay. Let me see here. Well, I'm gonna do it. Fuck it. All right, guys, we're really just going for it today. I can't say that I understand OBS at all. I thought I did. But the exchange of different hardware and software components has me feeling frustrated. But I'm here. And I took a very nice walk, a little place called Outside. And it's beautiful out there. They've got this thing called the sun. A bunch of people that are strangers that refuse to look at each other because it's Los Angeles. And yet there is joy. And yet there remains a tremble of hope. Because, I don't know, I saw some people I recognized. There's a guy that fixes bikes around the corner. I really like this dude. He's a beast. And he like volunteers for, it's not really a halfway house, but it's like some sort of large, partially subsidized living center. But this dude, his name's Jimmy, beast, puts together a bike karaoke. He also, like, everyone that lives in this, it's called the Eco Village, I think is required to ride a bike as their primary means of transportation. I know. But he builds bikes and repairs them for pretty much everybody there, which to me is badass. But he puts together a bike karaoke rip where he's built a platform in the back of what was formerly like a 2-platformed bicycle combo. And he has people stand on the platform. He rides very slowly, and there's kind of a gaggle of bicycles all singing, you know, foreigner songs. Basically dope shit. But I saw his wife, who I just met the other day and got her name. Her name's Jess. Very lovely. Very nice peeps. They have a dog who's much calmer than Marley, but that's easy to do. And yeah, I got to give love to him. The neighborhood is hot today. And with that in mind, I will move forward into some Dungeons and Dragons prep. Now, if you've been following, I love you. And thank you for supporting me. The first campaign ended in September, or maybe very beginning of October. The wheels came off in September. It didn't really end until October. And I really felt that vibe of disappointment, but like that kind of post-campaign blues, where you've been running something, in this case, for over 4 years. And it's tough when it ends. You know what I mean? Like, even if you have a job that you love and then you're like moving on, it's hard to say goodbye to everybody. You know, it's hard to like get out of there. That's how a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, I think, at its best feels. Is like a family unit. You've been through hell. You fought together. You fought with each other together. And so when it ends, there's, at least for me, the Dungeon Master, regardless of how well the party did or how well the campaign wrapped up, there is a little bit of that melancholic absence. So I was feeling that big time. October, November, didn't stream a lot. And really just over the past 3-ish weeks have begun to set my sights on this second campaign that will be fully homebrew. It will exist within the realm of Faerun, but I want to go even further into my own kind of lore and ability to world build. So I reached out to the party. I was like, what's up, dudes? What's up, guys? Hey. And I sent them a little Google survey, right? A little something called a Google survey. And I wanted to get their feel for what they wanted, how they wanted this to go, etc. And I'm still waiting for 1 or 2 responses to come in. But I wanted to check in here first, because this to me is kind of like where any good campaign should begin, if it's homebrew, is an understanding of what your party would want to do. What do these people find fun? A good table has a great understanding of each other's dynamics, each other's wants and needs, obviously lines and veils as well for safety, but they, before you start out on a campaign, I find it very helpful to, in general broad strokes, kind of agree on what this campaign will and should be about, right? So I hollered, of these options, which are the most compelling to you? Continuing on in this world of the Sword Coast, but as a new party, 3 votes. Continuing on within this campaign from this point, this chamber, what remains of this party. Cool. And then continue on with this campaign, but picking up in the plane of Nine Hells. Now, unfortunately, I did let people select multiple options. So, who selected what? Who knows? But I do like knowing what people kind of responded to. You know what I mean? What's up, TikTok world? Get in here, Ajulu. I see you, dog. The next question, what kind of world or setting should we run? Dungeons and Dragons is typically high fantasy, right? That's the first option. But particularly in like modern D&D, but really across like its history of editions, there are a lot of ways you can kind of like paint the world. Spelljammer is the most famous kind of space module for D&D. I've never played it. I've long found it really interesting. Dark Sun. Oh God, do we know Dark Sun? Dark Sun is a treacherous place. I thought it came out in 3rd edition. Lord Richter, who's a friend of the channel and an all-around champ, informed me that it is in fact 2nd edition. I can't say that I've gone back and checked myself, but I would like to know. And it seems to me like, because of the swath of high fantasy, Dark Sun, Deep Space, it does feel to me like there will have to be maybe some travel to the astral plane, right? Like, you can have high fantasy set in deep space. You can have high fantasy and deep space within a world of Dark Sun, right? That's basically just like what Dune is. So this is something that I think will be the most nuanced in terms of taking this feedback and sprinkling into the campaign. Pragmatic question, what day of the week rather, Tuesday's cool. When should we start? Very cool, very cool. Any thoughts? Excited, love the synopsis, excited. I personally would like to create a new character, whatever we do, cool. Okay, dope. Now we've done it. Now you've done it. So let's talk about this world, lovers. Now, I know this is like remedial English paper style right now. Look, I fucking get it. I get it, okay? Oh, I see. Okay, so I don't know. I like the idea of just having in my own mind's eye what the inspiration is, what some of the themes being explored are. The previous one was like old versus new, the impact of loss, and what one might do to right that, to what lengths an individual might go to seize opportunity, bend fortune back to their liking, right? So I think a big theme for me is the fall of the Silvery Empire, impact of the Drow. And this is like under the remaining conflict, sure, but how long and ceaseless the gods' warring has been. Man, I'm trying to think here. Good seeing you guys. Get in here, lovers. I hope you love D&D, because we're doing some D&D. Twitch and YouTube, we've brought TikTok into the realm. Was it a mistake? I don't know. It appeared to be TikTok o'clock, and I wanted to rip. So welcome. Hope you guys all love D&D. Talking to you, Jeff58. Holler, dog. We're getting ready to take this second campaign off the ground, and it is the same 6 players that I've played with for almost 5 years. And so we're just jotting down some kind of big concept themes that we want to play with. Impact of the Drow, how long and ceaseless the gods' warring has been. There's Lucaria. Great loss. The vacuum of power disaster can create. Cool. Okay. So a couple main themes. We've talked about what remains. This Lich is sort of the end of last campaign. We basically had this Lich that, you know, was forever trapped in a pretty rowdy spot. Just get this a little more available to you guys. Beep. And the Lich ended up like PPKing the fucking party, more or less. You know? I mean, like killed several people, finger of death to a lot of people. So I have the Lich down here just because, like, I would like the Lich to, at minimum, continue to have an impact on the world in a way that is visible. If a D&D campaign ends in a TPK to the hands of a, well, let's just say Lich, because that's effectively what happened. Yo, Garvanch, what's up, baby boy? Bugles up for a real one. Garvanch, how are you, dog? I cannot complain, man. This is kind of the last week of the year that I'm treating as work. I'm a dad now. Call me Daddy Rain Dance. Yeah, man, life is good. How you living? You getting ready to come back and play some more D&D with us? Is that a yes? Is that a yes? Applying for graduation programs. Let's see what country calls me. Let's go. You better have applied in LA, dog. You better have applied in LA. Garvanch, much love, dude. Hope you're absolutely thriving at Wednesday at 11:12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You're a champ, dude. Hey, this is an absurd question because I know it's no. I know, like, traditionally, historically. But, like, does Christmas have an impact in India? You know what I'm saying? Not that it should. But, like, is it present at all? Just curious. Yo, Frandy. Hello. Oh, and hey, Carpe. Frandy, what up, dude? Let the thunder roll as the mustached man has approached. Frandy, you're a fucking legend, dude. Working on music a lot. Love. Yes, we celebrate Christmas, man. Okay. Nobody clipped that. It was an honest question. I did not know the answer to. Now I feel like a fool. To be clear, not that I didn't think Santa Claus didn't go to India, right? Or more importantly, couldn't. I just didn't know what the vibe was. You know what I'm saying? Like, Chinese New Year does not get a lot of play in America, unless you're in a major city with an enormous Chinatown. Then you really feel it, and it's pretty dope. I'm off work for the year. Oh! So beard is in full bloom. Let's go. Oh, buddy, I love that. That's a great way. Guys, Frandy is a pilot for the goddamn army. We got a lot of Christian people here, especially a lot of South Indians are Christians. Okay. How like every country has a Chinatown except India. Well, then maybe that's something I can export out to you, my friend, is the time and place of the Chinese New Year, which I don't know offhand, but I feel like is usually late January, early February. Yeah? Okay, so let me briefly bring you up to speed, and then I do want to move into just some snagging and grabbing, mainly of like NPC kind of vibes and characteristics, etc., etc. And as always, guys, let me know if it's on the 29th of January. But is it always on the 29th? I thought it was like the last day. I thought it was like relative to the day of the week. Educate me, please. It's mostly in February because I go buy furniture there, but due to the lack of jobs and employment issues, it's coming early. Yo, unemployment is low, so Christmas is coming early this year. So the last campaign ended in what was supposed to be like a pretty epic... I mean, it was epic, I guess. Frandy, don't crack in. If you don't think it was epic, hold your tongue. It was not all that satisfying, but I think it was epic. Oh, man. There's a War of the Gods. Several sort of, Maliki and Scaravan, Thalos and Saloon, and Bala and Shantea. Old versus new. And this Lich had formerly just kind of been an orc, a bit of an adventurer, more of like a bard, lore collector, historian. Found themselves trapped in this cave-in, in this mine, and, eventually was offered a dark truce by the blood goddess Bala, given immortality, enormous power, but couldn't leave this cave. And it was large enough, it historically had been like an underground granary where the dwarves of old had brought the wheat collected by the bounty of Shantea and thrashed it, processed it, turned it into grain, right? Mapronomicon. Oh my gosh! I knew I felt it get slightly more attractive in here. Mapro, get in here. Yes, dude. So this is follow-up campaign 2 to what was a very intense and rowdy kind of sesh. By sesh, I mean a 4-year campaign. And I don't want to stay on those same themes, but I do want to showcase, right, how long and ceaseless this war has been. And we'll go back and kind of play with some of that, but I want to get, well, just because I have the idea, I want to put it down. Historians comparing it to the time before the rise of Decanthar. Different, though. Enormous loss. The absence of a great champion. Oh man, so last sesh or campaign, Dragon has brought into question the power of divinity. Foretelling. Okay, cool. Right. So the prophecy of the dragon. Let me break you off on some lore. Prophecy of the Dragon was basically something I worked into the campaign that was like a, more or less a sonnet, a series of coupleted rhymes, and it was meant to be a labeling of the blue dragonborn ranger, who's played, who's a PC manned by one of the players. It was about planting that character as part of the expectation of this long-running prophecy. And I left it really open-ended. It was extremely challenging for me to do because I needed to establish it early, but in such a way that I could, use allegory to then later plug in the moments that were in reference to it. And I don't want to bring it up right now because it's on another Google Doc, but after they realized what it was, and after some people reacted, seeing a blue dragonborn kind of come out of the wild, Valnor, who played this blue dragonborn, was more or less like, oh no, I don't want to be special. Am I special? Please don't let me be special. And so I'm like, I want, and he was special, unfortunately, and it did thrust them into the middle of this conflict between the dragons, the crux of it motivated by this pressure created by the instability of the heavens themselves, the natural world in disarray, orcs displaced, the kingdoms of men threatened. And now, as this adventuring party pushed to the spine of the world in this enormous encampment, this great, fierce host of Ice Shield orcs, this prophecy was on the cusp of being fulfilled. And unfortunately, /fortunately, who can ever say, some decisions of the party, despite what I intended to be the trappings of of more or less, railroading. Fusca, what up, yo? We got another legend in the chat. Doth I spy a Foos? Get in here. Happy Wednesday. I'm finally feeling extremely galvanized for the new campaign. So that is what we're doing right now. But yes, man, we're chilling. Dude, exactly. Happy hump day. Guys, a week ago it was my birthday. And I was so committed to chilling. And I really did. And I had that realization. I was like, oh, today's Wednesday. Oh, last Wednesday was such a sweet day. I got to hang out. Both me and my wife played hooky all day. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the point is, sometimes hump day can be a great day. Get out there and hump. Foos, how we living? I finally feel so excited about D&D, and I'm so grateful for that. Okay, so these are some of the main themes we're playing with. Campaign 2 is going to start in the same world that we left. Right? But a good far removed. Yes, exactly. Good just had a positive end of year review. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Isn't it crazy, what an impact that has? What's up, C-Joy? Get in here. Where it's you have busted your butt all year. And now you are so pumped that our bosses are basically like, yeah, you worked really hard all year. We're like, yes. Yes, I did. Not saying it was like that for you, Foos. I know you're a cool cucumber. You're probably just chilling. You're probably like, yeah, where's my bonus? Can we talk about that real quick? What happened to year-end bonuses? Where did you go now? Like, where are you? Can a boy catch a bonus? Can you put some cash in an envelope, dog, and hand it to you under the table? Don't write a check. Don't run it through payroll. Pull it out of an ATM in sequential bills and hand it to me by the thousands. What happened to the good old days when a boss would pull you aside, offer you a flask of whiskey, and stuff a little cash in your pocket? Yeah. I don't know if that ever happened, but thank you for the belated birthday, my boy. It always makes me nervous, but it always goes well. Yep. Just like a musical theater audition. Fusco, let's go. Let's fucking go. Honestly, that gets me hyped. But the support from companies is mostly laughable. To be very clear, I also got a year-end bonus. There was like a Christmas bonus that was like, I don't know, it goes a long way. It goes a very long way. Yes, money is money, but it's more like it's a transactional relationship. You're working, damn it. So for them to be like, yo, here's a little kashish. I see you. That feels good. It feels good. Investors happen. The only thing that matters is stockholders, yeah. Stockholm stockholder syndrome. It's the thing. Okay, so campaign wraps. I do like the idea right here. Wait, where is it? Yeah, that Bilbin is the only one to survive. I'm currently working on an edit of what's more or less the last 15 minutes of the campaign. And it's a little bit sad, but there's some funny moments. And one of them for me is the fact that like Bilbin, who is just like basically like an NPC, he's like a level 8 ranger. He's got a little bit of rogue in him. But Bilbin, was almost like a mechanism by which the party was led into the Lich's lair. And so there was an enormous amount of doubt and like confusion around Bilbin. Can we trust him? And it ended up, and I rolled for a lot of it to basically be like, would Bilbin even do this? But there was an enormous amount of damage and efficacy by Bilbin in combat. He rolled a nat 20 on damage. He rolled another nat 20 to pop up on a death save and attack again. Like, it was insane. He eventually got caught some hit points by way of a mass cure wounds, and ultimately was the only one to survive. Actually, that's not true. Halstead, the druid, did survive, but he was in like wild shape, and Bilbin, the NPC, doesn't know. So I want to begin the campaign with some trickle-down effect. I think I put session 1 in a weird way. Hold up, let me just check this. Yeah. I just want to put session 1. This is aggressive, and I love it. Like, we're playing in February, and I'm like, first session. Let's prep it. December 18th. But I really want the intro, the preamble, or an opening in discourse with an NPC to be centered around Bilbin's survivor's tale. Let me ask, can you guys hear the like boom, 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 the like chiming, the PC notification I'm getting from Windows? Okay, I am dying, dude. Dying. Easily spent 90 minutes, probably closer to 2 hours. Have no fucking idea. Spent so much time on it. Okay. I just turned off all notifications. Let's see. I hope there's still music. Who knows, guys? Who knows? But I pray to God that this stops the chimes. Let the chimes be forever thwarted. All right, good. I'm not hearing any chimes. I'm so glad I asked, Foos. And if that honestly is all I needed was to turn off all notifications, great. Turn them all off. This is iced tea. I wish it was like Fernet. Can you imagine me having a mason jar of Fernet? Is Carpe okay? He's Italian. Okay, the preamble or the opening discourse will be centered around Bilbin's survivor's tale. Now, the final couple sessions, all the way back there in August and September, they centered around a little gash in the rock called Bixie Creek. They had been there for a while, but people coming from all over the north to, set up camp there and see if they might be able to pull out a small fortune from themselves. Gold, silver, tale of platinum somewhere in these hills. And Bilbin was essentially one of the first people that met them in Bixie Creek. He was chilling hard. Described him almost like a Daniel Boone-esque trapper. And he described coming back from this place that was ultimately revealed to be the Lich's lair, the Dark Hearth. And through an intricate series of deceptions and power of narrative, DM manipulations. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm just serious seeing these bits. Frandy, shut up, dude. Save your bits, you beautiful man. You never need worry about yon bits. But so sweet of you. I love you guys. But Bilbin, the one that they met in Bixie Creek, was actually a changeling in disguise. Fuck yourself. One of the most classic, pivots, but I give them ample opportunity and ample warning. The whole town of Bixie Creek was on high alert, guarding against a changeling. They gave the party hell as they came in. And therefore, whenever the Bilbin that was a changeling led them to the Dark Hearth and trapped them there, and they saw the actual Bilbin, thinner, gaunt, his beard charred, his skin dirty, they knew that they'd been had. And I think Bilbin, because people knew who the Storm Chasers were, told a tale of the death of the Storm Chasers. Swallowed up by that ungodly hole in the ground. The Dark Hearth. They kept saying, they kept looking at me suspicious. Because I think that there changeling tricked them, used my countenance to lead them into the dark and seal them there. Now, I ain't lying, friend. Now here's the real thing. Maybe it is fucking Bilbin, I want to just full stop here and really put this out there. And this specifically is for anybody that's about to DM or doing anything. Yeah, this person on TikTok whose user handle is just 3 cat emojis, this is for you. I used to, as a DM, hesitate and feel really self-conscious about plot points of convenience where the long-lost brother just happens to be in the town that they're traveling through, or the NPC that was seen running away from the village is actually the same one that they run into later in the campaign, who's joined the army and found, his sense of purpose and self. And yeah, you don't want a bunch of convenient threads always crashing together without justification or reason. Then it loses all kind of purpose. But I do think that these moments where you can powerfully call back a situation should be leaned into. Because, like, why the fuck not? Right, Mapro? That's how I feel too. Like, you can't do it all the time. But if we're starting a campaign, let's go. Like, there's a character who is sort of loosely based off Jafar. Not really Jafar, but like that weird beggar Jafar. The diamond, you know. And your eternal reward. You guys know who the fuck I'm talking about. All right. You guys know who I'm talking about. Yo, get in here, Iguala. He was called the Shambling Man. And the Shambling Man is sort of a man that comes and he sells his wares all over the Sword Coast. Big wagon, magic trinkets, little tchotchkes, really. All of them kept close by the Shambling Man. And like everywhere they fucking go. Not everywhere, but like every 6 months, the Shambling Man is wherever the fuck they are. You know? Like the Underdark, Waterdeep, your mom's house. It doesn't matter. And you know, like he's really pretty clutch. Like he came in, yes, Foos, exactly. No, cheers. The Shambling Man is who sold them a card from the deck of many things, right? One of the several cities that they met him in last campaign. And the Shambling Man was going to be holed up in Raven Rock, which is sort of a very heavily reinforced kind of mining town to the, basically to the northwest. Yo, Richter. Richter, how we living? Bugles up. For the legend herself. I agree, you want to screw with your players. Not the characters, the players. Make Bilbin the real guy. Yeah. Oh my gosh. How crazy would that be? I love that the auto mod stopped want to screw. I guess I get why, but like, let them screw, dog. Let them screw. You know what I'm saying? Let the boy screw. Richter, how you living on this Wednesday? Yeah, I like that. I don't know that I want to make... Like, Bilbin is definitely not the changeling. You know what I mean? But I do like the idea of, in this moment, to the players... Okay, I get what you're saying. That's very funny. Okay, cool. Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. But give cause to briefly. Oh my god, I love that. So Bilbin will be telling the tale. I ain't lying here, friend. This place is big and troublesome. I've been there before, but not when it was like this. Some sort of dark power, long trapped, and more than able to strip the life from a fella in the snap of his hand. I saw him take this here wizard type, wearing bones across his chest and face. He's twisted, eyes long lost to whatever cruel power gave him. God that gave him such power. And this here lich and this here dark hearth fella killed him, made him rise again like some sort of twisted apparition. Happened to a couple of them, one by one, falling to this sorcery. But the last one, skinny fella, maybe Probably tended sheep before. I have a long, foos, much love. Lurk away. Let ye lunch rippeth. Richter, I'm finally pumped about this campaign. Yo, big ups to Chad Moore. How we living, big guy? Players love knowing touches of lore, even when it's used against them, yeah. And do not be afraid to raise the hand of the DM and stop them from doing things based on that knowledge. Yeah. No, 100%. 100%. Honestly, this table is damn good at avoiding metagaming. Which goes a long way, which is deeply appreciated by me. But no, completely agree. Let me just see something real quick. Cool. Interesting. Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. But I have this running joke of the monk who wears no armor and is just sort of a pretty unassuming human, as constantly being mislabeled as a farmer, a ranch hand, a stable boy, a sheep herder. But man, it was his backstory that brought such danger, such depth and violence to this old granary. And he was essentially killed and thrown into this bloody portal, sinking beneath into the power of the god that had taken over this chamber, the goddess of blood, Bala. And for agreeing to squire for this for him. He died something awful. Beaten to death. His body picked up and thrown into some sort of twisted pool, a portal made of blood and flames. Now I ain't lying now. I ain't lying. I ain't lying. Not a single word. Be untruth. This fella's body sunk down and then was gone. The whole chamber seemed to shrink. Don't know how, but ended up finding a little slip up one of the trunks. Tree roots led me back to the surface. But I was the only one that found their way there. Cool. And again, I just like the idea. Yeah, Richter, totally. There is, especially when you're not, overusing it, right? Or it's not happening a lot. The sort of intentional shadiness of the DM, right? That sense of being what the fuck is going on? That to me is really, really satisfying, right? I think that can be extremely, it's just fun. You get these people kind of on edge. I love having the table on edge, right? Okay, let me get this just a little more shrunk down. Cool. All right, lovers. Girl, reply to your message. Yo, Zella, I love you. Red Sage, I also have enormous love. Do I owe you a message? Dude, I've turned off all notifications. Wait, I'm sure it's about, well, Hey, if that date doesn't work, we will find a date. Fear ye not. Fear ye not, my prince. Okay, so I love the idea of starting this campaign, of course, with the party being on their heels, but being introduced to, you know, more or less how their last campaign ended. That word has spread. Lucaria will make an appearance, having mended the pots and tended to the arcane needs of the village. So I feel good about sort of touching in. This campaign is going to be, you know, about the impact of the surface losing a war, the impact of the new gods giving way to the bloody power of the old, and frankly of the astral impact of this divine war and the trickle down that it would have on certainly the astral inhabitants, but thus the inhabitants of the other planes, as both the heavens and the hells ebb towards each other, creating pressure in the center where the material lists. It's fine, I just needed time. Oh, okay, got it. Got it. I like Bilbin saying, I ain't lying. But I'm hearing something from the realms of fortune favors the bold. Yeah, I feel that. And is your thought there, Richter, like was Bilbin the bold one? You know what I mean? This is dope. Okay, let's just go through this. And then I want to talk about a couple things. This is worth noticing because I thought this was cool. You know, the changeling, I called him Orestes, and I had him basically being in the service of one of the BBEGs, this guy Trent Puergraf, who's from the monk's backstory. And we never really delved into it, but I do like, I mean, it's obviously very, very common for both Fae and Fiend to offer and strike bargains. And I like the idea of somehow this changeling being like captured, being made by the blind jackals historically, and thus pressed into service for the BBEG. And I think that whenever we start this new campaign, it will have been many, many years, and then this changeling is no longer indebted, right? They've been freed from this truce, this agreement. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, great. Okay. Of a Bible misquoting kind of character. Yeah. Dude, that's sweet, Richter. I appreciate that. Yeah, man. I mean, that's honestly what I love so much, right? Is building these characters, period. So let's get down just a little bit more for Bilbin, because I do like that idea. We'll get that down. And then I want to go through what we have. And then, inspired hopefully by that, I want to work a little bit on Darkstep. Yeah, I said it, boy. It's that boy, Darkstep. The turtle from space. It pisses people off whenever I come up with dope-ass NPCs. Yo, what's up, Debbie Taylor 4263? Welcome. Welcome to the Dungeons & Dragons stream. But yeah, Bilbin is sort of like a... I mean, he's a man that's been around. Seen a bit. Seen this, seen that. And what he saw down there in that dark heart. Worse than anything ever passed before his eyes. I ain't lying. It's gone. That's what happens. What happens when fortune turns her face from you. And may she never stop blessing the bold. I kept stabbing through my axe. I kept hacking away with my axe here. My axe. till I threw one and couldn't get it back. Hell, this is the type of guy that's like, hell, I was there and I had to go. Okay. I fuck with Bilbin. Bilbin was one of my favorite guys, dude. So this is how the campaign ended. And yeah, this is stuff we don't need. This we can actually take out. So these are TBDs. This is fine. This is stuff I've actually messed with. Cool. Final images from the campaign. The previous one, but applicable here. The Spell Guard of Silvery Moon, out in force and dress, stopping the storm chasers as they enter the moon gate to the north. They are doubted, they are judged, they are loathed. And as some sort of zone of truth or movement towards trial begins, the sun itself disappears, and the streets of this great city stretch in shadow as a winged figure blots out the sun yet again, which is part of the prophecy of the dragon. Perhaps the power of Fortune's hand bringing this prophecy back around. But this dragon comes to loft atop the moon bridge. A second shadow stretches, smaller, a different shade than the ruddy red and dark gold of this larger beast. A small wormling, blue-scaled. A new lineage begun. Okay, here's what we have to do. Oh my god. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Here's what we're doing. Because this is a powerful way to start the sesh. We're just going to treat this as the preamble. Now, whenever people tell you that I prep too much, yeah, they're correct. I mean, I'm writing the preamble for a session that will not take place any sooner than February 1st, 2025. Everybody shut up. But I like this, right? But the party knew. And this was meant to be the fulfillment of the prophecy of the blue dragon. They were going to save this ancient blue that was trapped in this cave to the north, the cold box. It's not even worth explaining. But basically the party, the cleric cast an 8th level etherealness and bamfed the whole party into the ethereal plane as a safety measure. And such could not see this dragon flying over the top, could see the shadow cast down from it, which they did connect with the prophecy. But now, as we begin the second campaign, we'll see what became of the last egg of this ancient blue dragon. Left without a mother, incubated and held, but reared by another. By an opportunistic copper dragon who sees this hatchling and raises it as its own. Now this is going to piss the party off immensely, which for me is extremely pleasant. Because they really liked the blue dragon, Trisylodon, and they felt really bad that they couldn't save her, as they fucking should. And they were a little unclear on Reltirion, the copper dragon. Like they liked him, he was cool, but he was unpredictable. And then they found out some shady stuff about his past that kind of brought his motives into question. And so for them now to have failed to keep the blue dragon alive and see the copper dragon with the blue dragon's hatchling, that's going to piss them off. Ugh. Ugh. Richter, I appreciate those suggestions. Okay. So we'll move that into the preamble. And I think, honestly, some of this will be moved down as well. Copied. 76 years. Well, we'll see. Let's just go through this. The hand of the blind jackal stretches like a cold fog over the Sword Coast, gone by morning and habitual in its presence. Silvery Moon yielded about 40 years ago. shortly after an incident known as the Great Loss. And they signed the Dark Truce, giving tithe to the drow of the Underdark, allotting swaths of land to their purpose. A stronghold every 200 miles and the assumed good faith of its people were the final bargaining chips. In an attempt to re-anchor the Myth Award, Silvery Moon pulled these arcane points of contact back to the plane they were created within, and then back once more to a different placement beneath the city. I talk more about this later, but this essentially led to an enormous negative impact. Marcine has swelled. That's where the first campaign began, which was literally meant to be like Phandalin from the Dragon of Icespire Peak starter pack. The Fountain of the Storm Chasers, a place of pilgrimage for the Harpers and many a would-be adventurer. So whenever I build out the rest of the preamble, I will be honestly copying and pasting a lot of this, but let's just leave it where it is right now, because who cares? Reltirion, that's the Copper Dragon, has been seen. Rumors of him drift down the spine. He travels with a blue wormling, both in flight, shrieking plumes of acid trail after them. This is the third year in a row of famine. Gradually slowing grain returns have now all but haunted. Shantea lies dormant and wilted in the astral plane. God, I love this shit. The party basically is going to, like, and I talked about this a little bit, right? And sorry, TikTok, this is not framed well, but I'm not going to change it because I'm going right back. But the first question I asked was, you know, of these four options, which are most compelling, right? Continuing on in this in the world of the Sword Coast, what kind of world or setting should we run? High fantasy, dark sun, deep space. And it really 3-3-3-3, right? It feels like we're going to be running a high fantasy campaign that will have enormous, you know, similarities to Dark Sun. Low magic, kind of a wasteland vibe, right? And that will be justified and very, very much earned by the successful onslaught of the Drow to end the last campaign and the threatening sort of unraveling of the Plane of Nine Hells. So this will be a high fantasy Faerun, you know, campaign with enormous aesthetic and mechanical similarities to Dark Sun. But I want there to be a through line. I put it as deep space, but of more like astral plane. They traveled to the astral plane briefly. There was reason for them to understand like what was going on and why the gods themselves were unstable, more or less. But now I want them to explore that world more. Like I want us to spend enormous chunks of time there. The moon does not phase properly anymore, hangs half full for weeks. The Evermoors are growing rich with plant and game. The Yippie and Bushian have finally treated and opened the moors to all who banish the shadow. Okay, so then I go into the BBEGs, the villains of the campaign. Trent was the one that was left over. Trent's sort of like, he's like an old world Sicilian. He's a high-level monk with a couple extra bells and whistles. Although you could call him bells and whistles, he packs a punch. Lucaria Chestnut, who is the daughter of the wizard BBEG from last campaign. And Lucaria is sort of like, imagine like the daughter of Littlefinger, maybe. Maybe if like Sansa and Littlefinger had a daughter and raised her. Balls and whistles. Yeah. You know, I never trusted Trent Puergraf because of all the balls and whistles. But Lucaria is a wizard herself. A new type of wizard. Humble and altruistic. A front for her purposes. Same as her father, just different wrapping. Cool. And when this great loss occurred, and let me just cut to it because this is dope. When the Great Loss occurred, that's how we justify entering the low magic, dark sun era. And I think it's going to be fun, dude. You know what, dude? Gay is in. Gay was auto-modded, and I'm going to send that feedback to Twitch. Don't you mod out Gay. No. A gay Christmas teeny. That sounds delicious and like one that would honestly lead to a little mistletoe. Mapro, I was so late. And Sage, if you're still there, know that I was even later getting back to Mapronomicon. But I did see the final bit of your campaign map. And that shit is dope, dude. Or that wasn't a campaign map. That was more of like a dungeon. Did you respond to that? Because it really felt like, yeah. I just loved how sectioned out that would be. I assume you're playing IRL. So do you just have everything covered up and pull off little pieces of paper? You know what I'm saying? These are my questions to you. A little Mrs. Toe. Okay, great. Then I will check that out. So this is, again, we're just going through what I have for campaign 2 because I think all of this tracks, but really what I'm working towards is elements of the astral, which of course all tie back in to Darkstep, who's really the hero of the campaign. I have him down as the BBEG. He's not evil. And I'm like hesitating right now because I am in fucking love with Darkstep. Darkstep is who's pictured above me on the Twitch and YouTube stream. All right, don't tell me this guy's not a boss. This guy? This dude with the holographic D20 on his chest? Bro, he's a turtle with the power of the cosmos swirling atop his shell. Fuck out of here. Darkstep is the coolest. I will not hear anybody say anything other than Darkstep is the fucking man. Yeah? Okay. But I want to think about how, like, I know what Darkstep looks like, and it's fucking hot. But I know a little bit about his motivations. But I want to build out the character, the voice, and like the motivation. The astral plane in D&D lore is a very sort of ethereal place. It is full of like strange mythos, like unanchored, drifting power, the occasional literal presence of the gods themselves. There's also stuff like the astral dreadnoughts. There's a absence to time and space. There's a little bit more of a, like the physics of the astral plane differ massively from the material plane, right? And outside of like celestials, and I don't, what I'm about to say is spitballing. I don't know this part. I'm unsure of what, if any, sort of humanoid-esque, like, you know, naturally occurring citizens live in the astral plane. I just don't fucking know. Do any? Maybe. I simply don't know. So I need to look into that. I'll read up on that. But regardless, Darkstep does. That's where he comes from. So we're going to like flesh him out. And I really am excited to flesh him out. That's kind of what this stream is about for me. Yo, what's up, Waylon? Yo! I just named my son Waylon. Spelled differently. Welcome. I hope you love Dungeons and Dragons, because that's what we're doing. We're getting ready for the beginning of a new campaign that will step in in February, or maybe in January. We'll see. It was absolutely part of the campaign. I do it online, so I just cut and paste. Oh, dope. Matt Pro, that's somehow even more impressive to me. Like, I really like that. Okay, guys, so let's talk about what has occurred in the years between the end of Campaign 1 and the beginning of Campaign 2. Some of it we've touched on, but like the big one is that the Drow won the war and the Dark Truce was signed. And as such, they were given like allotments of land. There was, kind of an understanding of like, military de-escalation, et cetera, et cetera. And the Dark Truce came largely as a trickle-down result of the Great Loss, which was a moment where the ability to manipulate arcana, natural, divine, and arcane magic in this world was greatly lessened and in some cases lost altogether. If you are familiar with Silvery Moon, then you know that it is one of the coolest fucking cities that Wizards of the Coast ever came up with. And they have these mythal wards that are like literal arcane wardings that are like magical effects that can prevent certain things from happening and give power to certain individuals within Silvery Moon. And these mythal wards are physically held by these anchors, these ley lines beneath the city. And this isn't really established, but just because I thought it was cool, at one point in time, the rogue was like dealing with an area of Silvery Moon that had just been attacked by the Drow forces, and the Star Court was like partially rubble. A bunch of things had been destroyed. It was like a bomb went off, basically. And the rogue used this opportunity to kind of sneak off and like investigate this very like off limits part of Silvery Moon. And they ended up finding this area where another rogue had infiltrated and was like snared in a trap. And Rogue 1 helped that Rogue 2, and they ended up kind of looking around a little bit, and they found more or less like the blueprints to the mythal wards. And the one that found them was in the party. His name was Vexel. And he was like, oh, cool, fuck it, I'm going to take this. And Vexel, 10 sessions later, found himself in a very sticky situation and more or less like was flagged down by Rogue number 2, who was like, get in here. And in an effort to extend goodwill, the party's rogue handed over the blueprints to the mythal wards. And that was one of like the biggest mistakes and one of the biggest turning points in the campaign, which as a DM is like the juiciest shit in the world. Like, you love that.
King Kong ain't got shit on me.
My balls and my word. Astral Plane is home to Githyanki fortresses. Okay, so the Gith. Yes. I know nothing of the Gith other than they are astral. Solid, Lord. Oh, my Lord, Richter. Good call, buddy. Appreciate that. Yeah, do they live on, like, planets? You know what I mean? Do they have floating fortresses? What's up with the fortresses, Also, a ton of stuff. If you're looking for what might be in it, I posted a pic in the artwork section. Yes. Fuck yeah. Guys, if you want to hop into our Discord, it is aflame with dope artwork. A good bit of it supplied by Mapronomicon, an incredible cartographer and man about town. Oh my gosh, Beck Nolan 788? We've been waiting for you. Get in here. We're doing some D&D prep. I want to shrink this even more. Okay, so yeah, we're doing a little D and Dizzle. A little D and Don't, if you will. Okay, yeah, I like this. So, because of the actions of the party in the first campaign, the mythal wards were like compromised. They ended up in the hands of the Drow. The Drow took advantage of that. And now as we move from campaign 1 to campaign 2, showing the effects, showing the aftermath is an important part of setting the tone of the campaign. But I think also providing some information and some closure from the first campaign, while, and this is the big one, while also showcasing the fact that we are more or less entering a dark sun, low magic reality, right? So the great loss was an unfortunate, unintended consequence of the mages of the Spellguard and Silvery Moon pulling and pooling their power in hopes of washing the ley stones of their great city and the wardings there anew. But what returned from the astral plane was not what entered it. The ley stones pulled the power from these mythalwork stones, pulled even the power from the mages themselves, and the threads of magic became unruly before snapping out of the grasp of the casters. In the Spellguard of Silvery Moon, these great and trusted conduits of magic and arcana found themselves unable to cast, reduced to stable hands, and capable of even the simplest cantrip. This was known as the Spell Plague, and stricken thusly many members of the Spellguard cast themselves from the Moonbridge, taking their own lives. The War of the Gods, a main theme of Campaign 1. Yo, what's up, lovers? Get in here. We're doing some D&D prep. If you include some Githyanki, then you absolutely bring in the Gizari. Okay, so break them off, Richter. Who are they? In my day, they were not planets, but like asteroids with castles. Oh, that's what I was hoping you were saying. So there's like floating space fortresses. That's great. The Gith have ships. They make their home on ancient dead deity under a powerful queen named Vlakrith. Wow. This is very cool. Okay, dope. Great to know. Great to know. That's dope. So the reason that the re-anchoring of the Mythal Wards failed is because the Spellguard sent out the Mythal Wardings back to where they were created, the astral plane, and then pulled them back again, but wanted to more or less move them into different areas where people didn't have the fucking blueprints to them. Excuse me. But because of this War of the Gods, the astral sea was like this choppy mass of star and twisting storm. Thalos, the evil storm god, moved freely. Bala drinks from the lake of fire. And that which lurks, Skaravan, lurks no more. So the great loss affected any spellcaster. Intelligence-based spellcasters, which basically are like wizards, rolled a d100. On a failed check, they lost all ability to cast spells. The DC was 100 minus 10 times every spell slot. Yeah. Every spell slot available to the caster of 5th level or higher. Great. So on a successful check, the caster has all magical abilities reduced in half. Wisdom and Charisma casters simply can't access spells above 3rd level. Wisdom and Charisma casters that could previously cast 4th level and higher spells rolled a d8 and regained the first 2 levels of spell slot level rolled 4 and higher. Great. That's a mouthful, but if you know D&D, it makes sense. Magical items were largely nerfed. Magical locations were often muted with this strange grayscale as the magic that made them magical were suddenly snapped away. Political climate is cool. There's a lot of stuff going on there, but we don't need to deal with it right now. The Hells, similar to the situation with on the astral plane, right? The impact of the gods coming and like unseating the natural order has had an enormous effect. So that brings us now to the star of the fucking show, Darkstep. And if you're watching on Twitch, I don't know what to tell you other than, unfortunately, Darkstep has no photo. But you know what? I can do this. And frankly, it's worth it. Frankly, it's worth it. Yeah, let me just do this real quick because this guy's a boss. And I think it's important for everyone to have a visual on this guy. All right? Whoa. The fuck did you go, Darkstep? Darkstep. Great. Cool. So as you can tell, Darkstep is a fucking beast. Those of you on TikTok, you are so blessed that I took the time to show you Darkstep. Look at that guy. Look at him. Bro, his shell is made out of galaxy swirls. Come on. Come on. Baldur's Gate 3 grew the Githyanki lore. Oh, so the Gizari are the Gith. I will check that out, Richter. Cool. Yeah, the Zerai are monk-like scions, and Yankee are melee fighter-like scions. Interesting. So, like, original stock and now mortal enemies, right? Both were the same originally. Okay. The enslaved of the Illithids. Wow. After they broke free from the yoke of masters, they differed in culture and split. Wow. That's dope. Okay. So that's incredible. So, okay. This is awesome. So Darkstep, I think clearly like had some sort of what? Like his background. Wait, what's going on? Rough hewn. What the hell? So I like the idea of having an understanding of where Darkstep came from, right? And that likely influencing where the fuck he's trying to go. I think this is about... I think he was also enslaved by the Illithids. Part of a collection of beasts brought from the material plane and magically imbued with sentience. Used as a literal conduit, a looking glass of sorts, a walking lens or arcane eye. That's incredible. Button mash, I love it. Yeah, Richter, I think for him, he wants this... I think he views the astral plane as the world. That's his, like, default, right? That's his home. His crew is basically the crew from Star Fox. There's a giant hamster, Ralphie, a frog, Trippy Toad, and a fox, who we'll call Star Fox. And I think that they, like him, were essentially brought into the world by the Illithids, likely. Now, obviously, I had never even heard of the Illithids until y'all just mentioned it. So I'm going to read up on this, catch a feel. This will change. But I like the idea of more or less like him leading an uprising and them escaping. I think that Darkstep was almost like a satellite floating in the astral sea. Empty and isolated. I think he felt incredibly lonely. I think it was like emotionally and psychologically enormously destructive. Logically and emotionally destructive. And I think that he eventually escaped with the help of his liberated comrades. They vowed to sow peace and freedom across the astral. So that's, I think, the through line. And, you know, I think that he is aware now of like this war of the gods, of this like presence of Thalos and now Bala and now Scaravan. And it's like, okay, what the fuck is going on? So I think he will be coming to the material plane in the same way that the aliens came to the Army and Navy of the United States in like the 40s and were like, yo, what's up with all these bombs? Yo, this is having a huge effect on our world. Like, what's going on? And so that's kind of what I see it being, right? Yeah, that's what I see it being. It's cool. So he is sourced this to the okay. This is cool. The Githyanki live on the calcified corpse of a titanic six-armed goddess in a city called Tunarth. And the Gizari have a monastery out there on a giant asteroid named Shraklor. Wow. Okay, I will scope that out. Okay, I will need to do some research on this. This is all extremely dope. Yo, Rayan Kalef, get in here, dog. Okay, guys, good stuff. We're not going to do the voice of Darkstar because I need to get out of here. This was great, though. As you can tell, like, I'm honestly really, like, finally, again, feeling enormously motivated and excited to play some fucking D&D. And I for a while there, I was like, oh, shit, am I burned out? Like, what's going on? Yo, Marshmallow Man! And I was like, oh, dude, am I, like, burned out? Like, what's going on? And no, I don't think that I am. I think that let me just search this. I think that I felt really sad about the way the campaign ended. And so it feels great to kind of be back at it a bit and feel like, oh my gosh, I want to do this, you know? So that's amazing. Marshmallow, thanks for coming through. I love you. Everybody, Richter, Mapro, Red Sage, Foos, Frandy. Who did I forget? Gervanch, let's go. Cannot forget Gervanch. These fucking legends. Where Kevin, beloved NPC Kobold, is actually a vessel containing the essence of Vecna. And when they beat Strahd, he will be released. Marshmallow, that is so good. And when they beat Strahd, he will be released as a BBEG for part 2 of my campaign. Hey, we won! Yes, and you unleashed Kevin. When your campaign does end the way you expect, you have to take a moment and regroup. Lord Rector, I'm loving these button smash. It's in like 6 sessions. Incredible. Made of adamantine. Wow. Okay, so I need to do some deep space lurking and searching and yerking. But guys, y'all are the best. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for chilling with me. I'm going to raid someone that is doing some D&D. Ideally prep. Because that's what I love to do. Yes. Let's do Dork Tales, man. From 12 to 1 Pacific. We're doing it. Guys, send some love. Appreciate all you guys getting in here. They just got past Yesterhill. Oh my gosh. Okay, no more. I'm on coffee and tea and candied bacon. Mapro, I love it. Okay, guys, if you can, please tell Dorktales what up. That's a great name. They're cracking me up. So they're typing some docs out. Looks like they're having a great time doing it. I love it. Now, do they have cool borders around the dock? No. No, they don't. But we will be back next Monday. And, dude, the big one is in 2 weeks on Monday the 30th. I will be doing a interview session with the Storm Chasers, with my table from Campaign 1 that will be playing in Campaign 2. Obviously, no spoilers about Campaign 2. Do not tell them anything. But we're going to go through the Campaign 1 Google Doc. We're going to chop it up. I'm going to share some tidbits that never got revealed. I'm hoping to hear some of their questions and big moments and disappointments and blah, blah, blah. It should be awesome. But if you can, December 30th, right here, we will be ripping. But as always, guys, truly, take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next Monday. We out. We gone. We go.